Okay. Hi students, today we have to discuss the types of force. In the previous class we discussed the situations that we want to apply force. We want to apply force for change the shape, change in the state of motion, that means change a position or to change the direction. But today we want to classify the forces into two types. Okay, we can classify forces into mainly two branches, that is contact force and the second one is non-contact force. First one is contact force and the second one is non-contact force. Second one is non-contact force. These are given here. First one is contact force and second classification is non-contact force. Okay, let us classify this. And what is contact force? A contact is needed for the action of force. You can see the definition here. A contact is needed for the action of force. Contact forces are types of forces. They need a contact to apply that force on any object. We can find muscular force and frictional force are the two types of forces included in contact forces. So what are they? Muscular force and frictional force are included in contact forces because muscular force means it's a force resulting due to the action of muscles. It is a contact force. It is due to the action of muscles. We can see some examples. Muscular force is a type of muscular force used by bulldogs and horses, then donkeys, camels, etc. These are included in muscular forces and it needs a contact. We can also include muscular forces applied as to pick an object or to throw an object. These are muscular forces. Human forces are muscular forces. Then, second example, a bicycle rider uses his muscular force to move the pedals. Okay, when we apply some forces on any object, that force is included in muscular forces and it is a type of contact forces. You can also see some examples here. There are some examples. It's a muscular force. Can you see this figure in the screen? It's a muscular force. This boy applying a force by contacting the, and it is a muscular force. Then you can see another example, uh, push or pull. These are muscular forces applied by human beings. This is also muscular force applied by this bullock. So these are included in muscular forces. Then second example, second types of friction is frictional force. Friction force is also included in contact force. Okay, so frictional force is a type of contact force. Frictional force is a force which opposes the motion and arises when the object starts to move. It is the definition of frictional force. Frictional force can be defined as a force which opposes the motion and arises when the object starts to move. When we apply a force on any object, when it starts to move, this object itself produces a opposite force. That force is called frictional force. There is an example here. A ball rolling on the ground stops after some time. It is due to frictional force. Okay, a ball rolling on this ground and it stops after some time. It is due to the frictional force in between the ball and the ground. Second example, a car stops due to the frictional force in between the road and the tire. So these are included in frictional force. There is some example, frictional force. This ball or this box or any other object moves and it stops because of the frictional force. This frictional force arises when the object starts to move. Okay, frictional, this definition is an important one, and we will study later this frictional force in the next chapter. Okay, we can broadly study in that chapter at all. So frictional force which opposes the motion and arises when the object starts to move. Okay, then friction, force of friction acts on all moving objects and its direction is always opposite to the direction of motion. Frictional force acts on all moving objects and the force opposes the motion of that object. That's an important one. So then the next classification is non-contact force. Non-contact force. It means there is no any contact is needed for the force come into play. There is no any need for touch to that object. Without touching any object, we can apply this type of force, non-contact force. We can go through the examples. Magnetic force. First one is magnetic force. Magnet does not touch the object when it exerts a force on that object, on any object. So the force experienced on the vicinity of a magnet is called magnetic force. We can go through this example. A magnet can exert a force on another magnet without any physical contact. A magnet exert a force on another magnet without touching this another magnet. Also you can see another example here. This U magnet attracts this iron nail without touching it. It attracts towards this magnet because this magnetic force is included in a non-contact force. It does not need any contact to apply force. So this type of force we can include this in non-contact force. Okay, then there is a property like poles of two magnet repels each other and unlike poles attract each other. It means you can look through this figure is a magnet. We can mark this pole north and south pole of this magnet. Then put another magnet in the vicinity of this magnet. It is N and this south pole, north pole and south pole. So when these two equal poles come each other, then it repels each other. When like poles come each other, then it repels. So this north pole repels this north pole. So this magnet repels from that another magnet. But unlike poles attract each other, is a magnet is a north pole and is south pole, then another magnet, it is south pole and it is north pole, it is reversed. So this south pole attracts north pole. Okay, it attracts north pole, but here there is a repulsion, but here there is an attraction, so it come each other, it contact each other. Okay, it will meet together because of this property. Like poles repels each other and unlike poles attract each other, is a property of a magnet. Then force between a magnet and iron nail is also a non-contact force. We also discussed it. Magnet and an iron nail attracts each other. Okay, then another example, electrostatic forces. Electrostatic force is also included in non-contact force. What is electrostatic force? Look at here. The force exerted by a charged body on another charged or uncharged body is known as electrostatic force. We will study this electrostatic force in another chapter elaborately. So now it's a type of force attracted by a charged body on another charged or uncharged body. Look at this example. A straw rubbed with paper attracts another straw. A straw. Are you familiar with this straw? Straw rubbed with a piece of paper attracts another straw. This figure is included in your textbook. And also there is another example here. Uh, it's a rod, or you can take it as a pen. It has a your pen. Then, if you rub this pen with your hair, uh, then this pen attracts a piece of paper that you can see in this figure. So rubbed when we rub an object with our hair or any other things, it produces a charge on this pen, and this charged body attracts a piece of paper or any other object. That force is known as electrostatic force. Okay, you look at this figure. This pen or this rod attracts this piece of papers due to electrostatic force. Due to electrostatic force. Okay, this is an example. So you want to study this definition, and also we will study this topic later on. Okay, the force exerted by a charged body on another charged or uncharged body is known as electrostatic force. Then two straws rubbed with a piece of paper and they repel each other. If you take two straws and rub these two straws with a piece of paper, then come each other, then you make this straw, uh, then you put this straw in the vicinity of this straw, then it repels because of this same charge. When we rub this straw with another object, it produces a positive charge, and it also produces a positive charge. So this positive and positive repels each other. This kind of force is called electrostatic force. Okay, we will discuss this topic later. Okay, then gravitational force. The last type of force is called gravitational force. It is the force of attraction of Earth on any other object towards the center of Earth. Gravitational force means it is the force of attraction of Earth or any other object, but here we specified as Earth. So Earth attracts another object towards the center of the object is called the gravitational force. Okay, there is a point here. Gravity is not a property of Earth alone. In fact, every object in the universe attract another object. Every object in the universe exert a force on every other object. This force is known as gravitational force. So these topics are also we will study in the next standard, but it is a hint to the next standard. So gravitational force is a force of attraction between any two objects. We can say that it is the force of attraction of Earth towards the center. It's also a gravitational force. So you can see this example here. A ball is thrown and it attracts towards the center because of this gravitational force. It is the example. Okay, so these are the topics that we have to study today. Okay, thank you.